Seattle, and my formal title is Manager for Corporate Intellect. So if it has to do with ideas and testing, that's me. And if you see me speak, you know I'm helpless without slides. But this talk is about structures in chaos. So I feel like I'm pretty chaotic up here, and I'm going to ground myself with structures in my head that you can't see. First, fascism works well. That's my talk. And no, I'll do that. I really like that. I wrote that down in this can. It seems to me that when I test, it's analogous to, well, I won't tell you yet. Let me give you a status report of this group so far, of this meeting, as I see it. All right.
Do we want to hear that?
Oh, sorry, I forgot this. Yeah, okay. Here it is. That's my status report. And done. It's faster than an elevator pitch, you know? It's called the squiggle diagram. And here's the anchoring paradigm in this chaos that I've drawn. If you think of testing like a bird looking for worms, all right? We're covering acreage, we're covering the ground. There's worms in there, we don't know where they are. The first activity we have to do is fly around and decide where in that acre we're going to land, okay? So maybe we'll pick a river, because there's moisture there, right? And worms are there. Maybe we'll pick a tree. Maybe we'll pick something different, right? So, flying around and preparing to land is called setup, right? You have to configure your machine. You got to set up your laptop to do your slides. You have to eat some pizza first and be satiated, right? You got to find your seat. Okay, no testing is happening. You're setting up for testing. Okay, that's this. Flying around, flying around, flying around. There's, you know, Jeremy, Jim, me. You know, setup. Of course, I'm like this. My setup is like this, because I have no laptop. Okay, second activity. Test design and execution, which happens simultaneously when you're doing exploratory testing. You're covering the ground. You're looking for bugs. Okay, that's coverage. That is analogous to Jim or Jeremy talking like I am doing now. Okay, I'm not interrupted by setup. I'm not interrupted by questions. And that's the analogy for here. The third activity, bug investigation, and the time it takes to report that bug, right? So those are drills down into the earth to get the nice little worm. These are the questions that you gave to Jeremy and Jim, and me eventually. That's all I'm tracking. S, T, B. Okay? So this is a 5-minute session. The clock is ticking, and I'm doing mostly T. Okay? Very little S. But imagine if I was up here with my laptop and fumbling with it and I couldn't get the screen resolution. It'd be S, S, S. Come on, John, you gonna do any T? You gonna talk at all? You know? No, because I'm interrupted by S. No T is getting done. So here I am doing T. Da-da-da. Test design, execution. I'm covering the ground. Someone may interrupt me any second and say, wait a minute, a bird looking for worms? That's fascism. Something cool like that, right? And I may say, the hell it is, you know? And we go down this rat hole. No testing is getting done. You're not hearing the rest of my talk because I'm being monopolized. Okay, so the formal title of this talk is Toward More T and Less BS. Because B's and S's interrupt T. But the magic in doing a squiggle diagram like this is you could do a translation of a 90-minute test session, of a 5-minute test session, of a full day, of a project, of a year of testing, and distill it to something like this. And an executive who knows the code says, what, no bugs? Nope, didn't find any bugs. We have 30,000 automated tests running, no bugs. That is a concern. It's either a victory or it's a pathology, right? Or you have a status report like this. No S at all. Machine, we got VMs, bang, 1 second, they're on, and they're going, right? Coverage, found some bugs, right? Squiggle diagram. So, that is a structure in what seems like chaos, right? You can take this improvisational activity, like giving a stand-up talk like I'm doing now, trying to manage my nerves because I have nothing to anchor me. I have no next to click and say, I know I'm going to save myself because I'm going to give myself an anchoring structure just John, focus on T, B, and S. Focus on the analogy, and you're done. Okay? So, what I'm really suggesting is you try this, especially in exploratory testing, when you have this improvisational work that needs to get done, and you have to report on it. Report it. This comes from your gut. This is just measuring the minutes of the activity, right? Try to use the bird looking for worms analogy through a squiggle diagram, or what I often do is a session report. Here's another structure in chaos, especially in testing. Notes, bugs, and issues. Someone gives you a mission to complete, something to test. You're going to write down what you did, hopefully. Maybe if you have to give a report, it's good to remember. You're going to report any bugs, hopefully, right? And any issues. An issue is an escalation point. Something you need more information before you can decide what to do next. We all do this when we go to a conference. For example, we have the 27 tracks at Agile 2010. And you may have been sent by your manager to go see Jeff Patton do a talk on user experience. Or Ron Jeffries give the keynote. Can't miss that, right? But life happens at conferences, and you get distracted, and you got to, I didn't know that Whitney Quisenberry's going to be here. Sweet. So you decide to go to that talk. So as a bird looking for worms, you kind of get distracted in a productive way. And you might report, here's what my interruptions were. Meaningful interruptions. So I was doing this, we were trying this out at Hewlett-Packard, my brother and I. Session-based test management, a way to organize exploratory testing. And we were testing printers. And we noticed that the S times were huge. And rightly so for printers. You got to get paper bonds and paper sizes and paper widths and duplexers and ink cartridges and toner. You got to flash the firmware. All this stuff is interrupting testing. So, given a report, my TBS report, right? Put a cover sheet on it too. Don't forget to put the cover page on your TBS reports. And management rightly asked, "How do we get your S times down?" And I don't know. How are you going to help me test without paper? I guess. And somebody thought about it and said, I'll have to think. Yeah, we could do that. But where are you getting your printer supplies? And they were way on the other side of the building. And they said, don't you know? They've got interns who come around with little carts. And they'll bring it right to your cube. So that saved us time. So the S metric provoked a conversation that helped S times go down. And we could turn that time right back into T, because it wasn't interrupting us anymore. But the real magic, my dear friends, is when the B metric happened, right? How do we get your B times down? And my glib response was, well, don't put the B's in there to begin with. We won't trip over them, right? We won't need to find them. And so what they went to development, they said, stop putting all the bugs in the code. The B metric became their problem, not ours. I mean, it was a problem for us because it was interrupting T. They wanted more coverage. So, hence the talk, more T and less BS. That's it. That's my 5 minutes.